So this is actually night 3 of PIO because the first night I freaked out. I didn't record it. Yesterday I completely forgot. Don't be going too low. That seems too low.
Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Day 3. All right, I'm going to do some squats. Thank you. I don't have me to stay on your knees. Hey girl, welcome back to my IVF journey series where I'm sharing all the highs and lows of my fertility journey. In the last video, I talk about why it was necessary for me to take a much needed break. This video, I'm going to be sharing the IUI, egg retrieval, embryo transfer, and my second miscarriage and how all those things came together. I know that this part of the video in this series might be triggering, but again, I'm hoping that by sharing this part of my story, I can help give you more information for your story and that we can connect as moms who are going through some level of trying to conceive and grow our family. All right, so now we're in February of 2024 and I am doing IUIs. So IUIs is intrauterine insemination, and it's kind of a mixture of medicated cycle and then like an intervention. So what happens is you are put on medication. So this time, instead of using Clomid, I used another, I can't remember, like Leuprolide or something. And it's the same thing where they will give you pills. You will take the pills to help with ovulation so that you're producing more follicles. And then after that, you will trigger. And then what will happen is your partner will go in and give a sample. They will take your partner's sample, and then 36 hours after you trigger, they will take the sample from the sperm, inject it in you, and then that is supposed to help increase your chances of getting pregnant because it's timed. Okay, so what's up? Third cycle of trying to conceive. I'm taking letrozole, 2.5 milligrams for 5 days. Hopefully this time we can get pregnant. We did this in February 2024, March of 2024, and then we stopped because after doing the medicated cycles in 2023 and then doing 2 IUIs in 2024, it was just not working. And I actually spoke up and said, we need to do something else because this is not working. 38th birthday is going to be next month. And we started this when I was 36 and now I'm 38. So now we have to figure out another option because every year after 35, my AMH, which is the number that they use to measure how many eggs you have left, is declining. And even though it's not declining like someone who doesn't have PCOS, it's declining at a rate where by the time I get to 40, so we need to get a little bit more aggressive about what we're going to do here. We had a conversation, and that's when we found out that my insurance will allow us to do 3 IVF cycles, but it's really just 3 things within the egg retrieval and embryo transfer that they will cover under my insurance. First thing was to gear up to do my first egg retrieval, which happened to be on my 38th birthday. And that was tough because of the injections. And this is where it's like, oh my God, like, girl, you are going to be injecting yourself multiple times in a day for several days, and you have to do it. So the first couple of days, my mom came up and my husband took off just because this was like the very first time that I would be taking like 2 or 3 shots in my stomach. I did do a shot in my leg, but that left a very, very, very bad bruise. Highly don't recommend doing that. I did it, and then we had the egg retrieval on my birthday, which was serendipitous. Everything went well. We got 10 eggs, and that left us with 1 embryo. All right, so it's been like a few days since I last made my other video when I was at the acupuncturist. I left off saying that I was disappointed about the 4 that fertilized from the 11. I spoke to I go to 2 different acupuncturists because of scheduling, and they both agreed that 60% of the eggs not being quality eggs was kind of low. I just found out that of the 4 that fertilized, only 1 could be frozen. Based on my age, they were going to do 2 at a time, which means that we would probably automatically have to do another IVF retrieval. Egg retrieval. My husband doesn't know yet. I knew it was going to be between 1 and 2 eggs just based on like the drop-off rate. But that meant that 75% of the eggs, they wasn't good. So far we have 1 child in addition to our child. For me, it makes no sense to do the 1 transfer. I would rather stem again and see if that rendered any more embryos that we can use. And then after that, my insurance won't cover it anymore because we have maxed out my insurance as far as like medical procedures they would cover. So my insurance only covered 2 IUIs and 2 IVFs. So we've used up 1. I don't know how the transfer works, so I would have to call and verify that, but we would definitely need to go through another egg retrieval and then see the final results from that. I don't know, my oven is restarting. So we're going on a family trip. We're going to Disney World, so I feel like that'll bring everybody's spirits up. I don't know how my parents are going to feel that we did all the shots. We got 11 eggs and only 1 was viable. You just would never know. You would never think that with all, like we had Noah 4 years ago, and now we are at the point where it's like, if we were trying on our own, so 11 eggs is technically 11 months. And if we had tried every month for 11 months, we would have miscarried. And then 1 of the months would have been a viable pregnancy, if you're looking at it that way. That's all I got. And my husband and I were ecstatic because for my age, we thought we were going to get more, but we had 1. And we were happy with that 1. And we affectionately named that 1 the sticky one because we knew that based on the grade that they gave it, it was a pretty solid embryo. After that, we went on vacation, so we went to Disney World to take a little break. And then our doctor was pretty happy with the quality of that embryo. So as soon as we came back from Disney World, she wanted us to try and transfer that 1. I didn't think anything about it, like maybe we should take another break. It was my first egg retrieval. It went well. I did struggle, a little bit in Disney with all the walking, but I was about 2.5 weeks removed from doing that, so it wasn't too bad, but I had a great time in Disney, and we were very excited to have the sticky 1 in the freezer. So in June of 2024, they start to prime you again. You have to take different medication this time, because the medication that you're taking, instead of it trying to grow all these follicles, you just need to get 1 that gets to the level that they measure. And then after that, you can trigger. And then after you trigger, you will go back in and they will transfer that embryo into your stomach. So it was around, I believe like June 8th or 9th, which was also very serendipitous because it was the anniversary of my friend's death that we were going back in to do this egg retrieval. So I thought about the miscarriage from last year, my friend's funeral, and I was just very hopeful. At this time, I started doing acupuncture, which I hated. Some people enjoyed it, but I did not like acupuncture. Where I live, there is not a nearby acupuncturist, so I had to drive all over the country, and I just didn't like that because it was really interrupting like my day. I had to try and get back to get my son from school. It was too much. It was causing me too much stress. I did about 12 sessions, and then I stopped. I do know some girls who enjoy it, but I did not. All right, today is Thursday, June 13th, 2024, and we're getting ready to go do our first frozen embryo transfer of the frozen one. We are hopeful that he or she will stick, and not just stick, but lead to a live birth. Because it's one thing to get a positive pregnancy test, but we need it to be a live birth.
Yes.
So, especially because I've had a positive pregnancy test and it ended in chemicals, so we need it to be all the things that Noah was. How am I feeling? More hopeful than I've been this entire process. For a while, I was just like, none of this shit is gonna work, you feel me? But, you know, today I feel good. I'm drinking water. I have to consume about 6 cups of water to have a pretty full bladder. I'm pretty behind the 8 ball because I can already tell that I'm not going to have as full of a bladder as they need me to. So I'm trying to sip a little bit more. I have acupuncture before the transfer. Then I'm going to have acupuncture afterwards. From what I've read and been on TikTok, it's about a 10-minute process. I'm going to see if they can give us a photo. And that's it.
On period.
On period. So afterwards, I'm going to go home and relax because I was told to take it easy. So that's what I'm going to do. And also to note that I'm fasting because I had to take a thyroid pill. I took my thyroid pill at 7 this morning. And I have to take it on an empty stomach. So I will be fasting. I don't know if that makes a difference, but I will let you know. So check. You know, we checking out.
Yes, we are.
I'll be back after it's done.
And we hopeful.
Yes, I'm very hopeful. Okay, bye. So I'm back home after having the transfer. Everything went well. I experienced a lot of cramping. I had acupuncture before the transfer and after the transfer. Everything went well. They gave us a photo of the frozen one, which is now the sticky one. I had to drink a little bit more water because even though I had drank like more than 24 ounces that they told me to drink, I had to get close to like 40 ounces before they were like, okay, your bladder's full. So that's what I did. I'm in bed. They just said to take it easy for the next 48 hours, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take it easy. Sorry, I'm looking at my child, but my other child. But everything went well. The doctor was able to stick the catheter in. So I'm going to see if I can take a quick nap and go from there. But I didn't see them actually putting in the embryo. My husband did. So that was positive. And then I guess my stomach was hurting and I was craving real bad because I also fasted because I'm on a thyroid medicine. And I have to take the thyroid medicine on an empty stomach. So I usually don't break my fast until around 12 p.m. anyway. So my procedure was at 10. They didn't get started till like 10:45 because I had to drink more water. So that's it. So I'm in bed now. See if I can't take a nap because I still, you know, when they give you, when you do the transfer, they give you a bunch of meds. I mean, we had the egg transfer, and then you have to wait 2 days. 2 days. You have to wait about 12 to 14 days. And then I found out that I was pregnant. I was like, oh my God, it actually worked. The sticky one actually stuck. Good morning. Today is Sunday, June 23rd, 2024. I am
10 days past 9-day transfer, which is 15 DPO. I had my beta yesterday and it came back at 27.7. At my fertility clinic, to them, for first beta, anything over 5 is considered positive. They did say that anything over 25 has a higher chance of being a viable pregnancy. So because I was at 27.7, to them, that is good. I have my next beta in 72 hours instead of 48 hours. So I'm going on Tuesday, but the next Tuesday I'm going to check, and my beta will have to be at least 60 or higher. I'm continuing to take home tests because I want to make sure that it's getting darker. It's getting darker slowly. Let me show you today's test. It is dry. So I took a ovulation test. So this is how it looks. So that's the ovulation test. And a lot of people will take ovulation tests because once it hits positive, then you know that you're pregnant. And then this is my pregnancy test. It has dried. So as you can see, it's starting to show up more visibly. I will continue to test every day, even though I'm a psycho, until my ultrasound, just to give comparison. So this is the test I took at 9 p.m. on yesterday when I found out my beta, and then so the top one is 9 p.m. the bottom one is the one I took today. That it's getting more visible. I also took a digital. It's just to add comfort for me, like I explained to my husband, because last year we were in a space where we got pregnant, but then the line wasn't getting darker. It really, upset me, and I was very discouraged. So this year is all about, I'm confident that this one will stick. I'm gonna recheck my thyroid because prior to us starting the transfer, my thyroid was above the recommended level in order to sustain a healthy pregnancy. For women who are childbearing and who want to be pregnant, your thyroid has to stay under 2.5. And when they checked it, it was at 2.6. So I have to stay on a thyroid medicine until 1 month postpartum. And so now that I'm pregnant, they're going to recheck it on Tuesday when they check the HCG, thyroid. It hasn't risen. So the last time they checked it was about, actually it was like 2 weeks ago they checked it, but they're gonna have to recheck it. They're gonna see, it went from 2.6 to 2.1. So as long as it didn't rise to like 2.5 or back up to 2.6, I'm fine. But they will probably check it regularly now that I am pregnant. I'm technically 3 weeks and 5 days. My weeks turn on Tuesday. I'm really hoping my HCG is at 60 or higher. What I've tried to do is not compare it to my son. Like I said in previous videos, when I first took a pregnancy test with my son, I had my HCG, I was like at 800 and something. But I was also 33 when I got pregnant with him, and I am 38. So the conditions are a lot different. And so it's just something I have to remember that I can't compare them to. So if you're in the same situation where you're trying to compare like your first child or previous child, and it was like a natural, spontaneous pregnancy, you can't really compare it to one that is medicated because the levels are going to be different.
We were concerned because the sticky one was not, even though the lines were getting darker, I didn't feel comfortable. They were going real slow. So I had real reservations about, are we going to get out of the first few weeks? Are we going to make it to 6 weeks? Are we going to make it to the heartbeat appointment? The heartbeat appointment is one of the most important appointments when you're pregnant. That really confirms that you're going to have a higher chance of a viable pregnancy. Once you get to the heartbeat appointment, you have like over an 85% chance that that baby is going to make it past 12 weeks. And then once you get past 12 weeks, you have like a 95% chance that that baby is going to make it full term. So there's really a lot of markers within pregnancy that you want to make sure that you hit. So that heartbeat appointment is very important. When we had the heartbeat appointment with my son, his heart was very strong. We had no worry that we were going to have any miscarriage or anything like that. That little boy's heartbeat was like it was in there like swimwear. So we knew if we could get to that point, everything would be good. And then at 7 weeks, we go in to check because this was the heartbeat appointment and we don't see nothing. We see the yolk sac and that's it. We don't see nothing fluttering. And we broke down in that office. I was devastated because we were doing the progesterone shots. Mind you, I had to shoot my ass prior to doing the egg retrieval. So I've been doing the injections in my booty, I think it was like for 3 weeks now. And knowing that I was almost at the 12-week mark and I wouldn't have to do it no more, it was very devastating. That car ride back home from the doctor's appointment after we found out that there was no growth was hard. I had to go back to work, so I worked the rest of that day. And that whole weekend, I remember it just being a very somber weekend. The fertility clinic wanted us to wait another week to see if there was going to be any progression. But I was like, no, I've been pregnant before. I know that if you didn't see anything, you're not going to see anything. So let's just call a thing and schedule the D&C. They did go back in to check just to see if there were any additional growth, and there wasn't. And then I had a D&C, which is an abortion, to remove the tissue. And at that time, we wanted to know the gender and to also see if the embryo was perfect, and it was. I won't share the gender, but I will say that everything with the sticky one was perfect. And so that led to more questions that if this embryo was good, then why did I miscarry? Why is this the second time in a year that I have miscarried? What is going on that I can get pregnant, but I can't stay pregnant? And this led to another little mini break because it's like we're going to have to find out what is going on before we do anything else. And my doctor agreed. Usually when you have reoccurring miscarriages, you become high risk. So now I have entered the category of being a high risk person to have children. And I wanted to, again, just find out why all of a sudden I'm having all these issues. Because to go from you get pregnant the first time, everything's great, you go 42 weeks, to now you're having 2 miscarriages back to back, like something is going on. Looking back at that time, it was very painful because I was like, something's wrong with me. I'm the problem, it's me. And I just didn't know what else to do. I didn't know at the time if there was any other underlying medical condition, if it was my weight, if it was just because the PCOS was advancing so bad at this point. At the time, discussing donor eggs or donor sperm is not even on the table. That's kind of where we left off as far as after that, after having the D&C, it was now we need to figure out what is going on, because if this embryo was fine, your body is trying to tell you something that you are capable of doing. You just have to not give up yet and keep pushing to see if you can find out what is going on. Thank you so much for allowing me to share this vulnerable part of my story. It is very tough talking about pregnancy loss, especially when you already have a child, because it's like you know what your body is capable of doing. So to have 2 miscarriages back to back is really tough. So thank you for joining me as I shared that part of my story. In the next episode, I'm going to talk about the actual medical condition that is causing me to be infertile, how I feel about that, and how we're in the process of treating that. If you have experienced something similar, let me know in the comment section below. I will always try to share as many resources that I can. I don't know everything, but I can share what I have learned throughout my process of trying to conceive my second child. Make sure to subscribe so that you are notified every time I add a video to this series. Make sure to like, comment, and share with other people who could benefit from this type of information. And here is the next video in the series, or where you will see a video to catch up if the next video is not posted yet, which it should be soon. See you there.